Hello, welcome guys. It's ISRL Night here with ISRL Carter for the Division 3 Belgian Grand Prix, and we've got quite a race on our hands before that though. Of course, I'm sure as some of you have heard, the legendary Murray Walker, great F1 commentator, did pass away yesterday, and so some of these drivers and ourselves will be observing a moment of silence before the start of qualifying. All right, and well, thank you to all the drivers who observed that. They were asked to stay in their pit boxes until the 17-minute mark of qualifying, and it appears that they all have done it. So we're going to get started with qualifying now. You may notice through the race a couple of drivers sporting black helmets for the same honor. Of course, when you lose an F1 legend like that, you have to pay your respects, and a lot of these drivers are opting that. What happened to Cozy? Getting disqualified right away before he could even get to qualify. I think he got stuck at the top of the pit lane, and that's going to be the end of his session right away.
Yeah, so that's going to be a quick end to the session for Cozy. Pretty inopportune moment there. It is a bit of an interesting pit exit. You immediately have to disable that pit limiter and make sure you got that full lock steering to the right in order to avoid the wall. But yeah, must have stuck somehow.
Must have had a spin or something and gotten himself stuck in the pit exit, and well, unfortunate for him. But anyways, yeah, a weird start of qualifying, but we are here in Belgium, and it's let me just pull up our comments and everything real quick. I did see a couple of comments get dropped already, and I just want to see what everybody is saying. How's everyone doing there? Vapor rotation first, faster than the commentators. No, we were having a moment of silence, man. You commented before we were done our silence, so that's why we weren't talking. But of course, if you've tuned in after the moment of silence, with legendary Murray Walker passing away yesterday, or was it over the weekend? I forget exactly when the news broke, but yeah, you'll see much like One Wing, a couple of drivers sporting that black helmet to mourn the passing of a legendary F1 commentator, and hopefully they'll deliver a race he would have enjoyed calling. And we got 14 minutes left. You're probably going to get 2 qualifying laps. It's a long track around here. And if you, well, how do you say, if you take a little bit too long, you're not going to get that third one in. And it's going to be interesting to see if these guys rush it, or if they take their time and just put their 2 laps in and call it a day. We are down to round 7, so we're approaching the halfway point of the season, Carter. And at this point, we kind of have our idea of our favorites. We're, of course, Nick Potgieter, who we are on board with right now, leading the championship. But are there anybody here that you think might have a surprise for us in store around specifically this track?
Well, specifically, I think maybe just going off of the momentum, the AlphaTauri team has really kind of revisioned and revised their season. Revived, that's the word I'm looking for. They've revived their season after both of them being outside the top 10 in the standings. They've climbed their way back up into 7th and 9th. So not only the AlphaTauri guys, but look for ISRL Chris to maybe try and close that gap to 2nd place as well.
Yeah, Chris and Sunik, I think, if they're on track today, there will be no love lost between the two. After a safety car restart and post-race incidents between them last week. Well, Chris isn't racing as a result of those incidents, so he's
how about that?
Yeah, he's gonna be Sunik. He's gonna be trying to catch up, and then next week, if Chris manages to get himself back out on track, there, he's gonna be able to. Well, I just hope that the gap's going to be so close that they're going to be actually fighting for the same position, realistically. Yeah, we're not going to delve into too much detail on those incidents, but we actually have two drivers on a race ban today. Chill Mo as well, sitting this one out for a unrelated incident on Friday. So a bit of a shorter grid as a result. You'll notice there's only 16 drivers, but should shake up the order quite a bit because those guys are both near the top of the tables. Chris is in third. I believe Mo's in fourth right now.
Mo's actually in 8th in the standings, but
is he?
It just gives guys like Fallen Monkeys, Joseph Cozy, who are only 1 and 2 points behind Chilmo. This gives him a great opportunity.
Oh, apologies. He was like way up there last week. Yeah, fourth after heading into Baku, but after Baku, yeah, he's dropped quite a few. It is quite close there. In the, below the top two, very, very close in the standings. Nick Poggett with a 142.7 to put himself on provisional pole. Let's tune in with Always Rick. I believe he's starting his hot lap up through Eau Rouge, and I'm going to annoy a lot of people with apparently how I say it. It's too French, but we'll have to... I guess, deal with it, and it is a very French track after all, so apologies if the, actually I'm not sorry if the accent comes out, but yeah, carrying on. Always Rick, though, had a tough race in Baku last week. We gave him some unfortunate screen time after a castle section incident, and might have enjoyed it a little bit too much, the two of us, but looking to flip those fortunes around for Belgium, and do you think he's got what it takes at the very least to qualify in that upper half of the field?
Well, if he wants to, I think this is the best opportunity for him, with not only the drivers serving their bans, but just in the fact that 2 other drivers just didn't show up, so it's gone from 20 to 18 to 16, so you got a bit of a handicap there.
Rick going very wide, almost hitting that wall there, and it's going to invalidate his lap, so he'll have to try again. But there's 10 minutes left into the session, and I definitely do think he's going to be able to head back out there and at least get 2 more laps in. Bumblebee in the Racing Point. He's without a teammate today, and his teammate did not mince words for him last week after the incidents and what led to his race ban, but he's gonna, I guess he has a point to prove here for Racing Point. He's not had the season he wants, and his teammate attacking him there, kind of complaining about the results in the chats post-race. I mean, he's gonna beat his teammate this week. Can he deliver enough points to get himself back up into the standings and give Racing Point a fighting chance there in at least the Constructors' Championship?
I definitely think he can. I mean, we saw it was preseason, but just keep on going back to that insane battle that they were having, and we kind of knew from that point that there was going to be a little bit of animosity between them. They weren't really giving each other that much room. But I think what he needs to do today is just have a clear head. He's got his quote-unquote possible distraction out of the way. So, yeah, just have a clear head and hit your marks and put in the best result you possibly can. And to be fair, a 143.7 in 7th place on the medium tire right now, it's not terrible.
It's not, indeed, and he might be, 2 laps on those mediums. I don't think he's going to finish his qualifying on the mediums, but it does show a good deal of pace there, because he's not that far off of Bakker. Not even, second, 1.2, there you go, and he puts the mediums on him, the softs on in the pit. But he's 1.2 seconds behind Bakker on the mediums. He's ahead of Ix and One Wing. Ix, of course, quite quick in qualifying usually, so He's definitely showing a little bit of pace. We were on board with F1 Richie here, and unfortunately for him, going wide there, coming out of Lake Home and validating his lap, he's going to have to try again, so no time set there for Richie just yet. And Hartman right behind him, he manages to keep it on track through Lake Home, and on the exit of it, rather, and around up to the no-name corner into Poulan, and it's still good. He's trying some new things with his wheel. I think he pointed out that he was turning his wheel a little bit too much. Of course, Hartman changing from controller to wheel recently. And so he pointed out that he was turning his steering wheel just a little bit too much there during his quali lap. And it definitely looks like he's put in the practice, because I'm not seeing that anymore from Hartman. So hopefully the lap times go up too. I mean, it's purple sector 2 so far. Not sure how entirely accurate that is in the game, but if he can get close to Monkeys, he can start getting himself up into the championship order. Hartman, who's toiling a little bit further down the order right now. But because of how close that championship is, we could see Hartman there fighting for at least a top 15 in the final results.
Yeah, and especially turning the car on a wheel. Excuse me. Well, wow, look at that.
Yeah, and P4. I guess it might have been a legitimate fastest Sector 2 there. And maybe, I mean, a Sector 2 around this track, if you go fastest, it could mean you're running too much downforce. And you're losing a lot of time in the straights. Picking it up in Sector 2 is such a slow, winding sector, because Sector 1 and Sector 3 are essentially 2 straights and 1 slow corner in each sector. Of course, the bus stop for Sector 3 and La Source for Sector 1 there in that hairpin, which is turn 1. And so if you got way too much downforce, you're going to lose a lot of time there and then gain it all in Sector 2. It is a strategy to run here, but it might not pay off in the race. So interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that turns out for Hartman. Nick Pocketcher goes, well, he was first. He stays first, but he improves his time to 1:42.2.
Yeah, we were kind of really waiting on him to really kind of get that advantage that we're used to seeing from ironically gets him ahead of his teammate. And Crago also put in a solid P3. We're used to seeing him up in the top 5, but and you could clearly see really the gap between the McLarens and the rest of the field.
Yeah, absolutely, and both of them basically front row lockout. Now, of course, Richie is not qualified yet, and we saw last week the 2 Ferraris and 2 McLarens, very good in qualifying. They both qualified in the top 5 in Baku. We saw that incident, of course, with F1 Richie and the 2 McLarens in turn 1 that ended with F1 Richie and Bakker pointing the wrong way. It gave Sprunky the lead, who he lost. Sprunky, of course, hitting the wall there just a lap later, and what a race we had in Division 3 last week in Azerbaijan. Can we see the 2 Ferraris, the 2 McLarens battle at the front again?
Well, I mean, we're going to have to just wait and see, but they've, as you've mentioned, clearly become the top 2 teams. You've got Chris and Azen kind of sandwiching the 2 McLarens and Ferraris. But yeah, they've kind of put themselves out there as the front runners. And so far here in qualifying, McLaren has shown that. But as you said, F1 Richie's still yet to put a lap in, and Crago's actually decided to go right back out now that there's only 4 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Yeah, Bumblebee coming through the bus stop now, and I think that was his hot lap. Yes, it was. So he goes P2 for Bumblebee. And that definitely was a hot lap. I wasn't sure if he was still on his out lap starting it now, but no, he was pushing very hard. 142.552 for the racing point. I guess he took those words from Chris to heart and decided to show him just what he can do here around Spa-Francorchamps. And P2, that's a front row there for Bumblebee. It would be his first if he can hold on, his first of the season. Or maybe first in ISRL. I don't. Oh, if something's happened to Always Rick there, is he has a broken wing heading back into the pits. He's going to want to go back out soon if he wants to set a lap. But Bumblebee, a great qualifying effort from him so far. CJ Butch pitting as well. He's going to be...
Butch just jumped up into third before Bumblebee took second away from Bacher, which put CJ Butch down to fourth.
Yeah, it's going to be the end of CJ Butch's qualifying. He's got to wait for his teammate, essentially. His teammate came into the pits right before him. And with 3 minutes left, I don't think he's going to have enough time to pull into the pits, change those tires, get back out again. But we'll see. There's still, 3 minutes. I think everyone who still wants to qualify is going to be heading out on their final runs here. Bumblebee's done. He's not going to have enough time to make it around either. He's going through Blanchimont right now. And... yeah, so that's going to be one guy done. I think everyone else can put in that final quality lap. F1 Richie's on track, though. And I don't know if you want to take us on a lap there on board with him as he prepares his final qualifying attempt. Through the bus stop he goes. And, yeah, I mean, take it away, Cardi.
Yeah, all right. So exiting the bus stop here, you want to get on power as soon as possible, but be as careful as possible, not to try and spin the car out. The rear will definitely step out from you. Very sharp late apex at turn 1. And then the first part of Eau Rouge, you're going to want to cut in a little bit here and then immediately flip the wheel a little bit back to the right in order to get the best slide through Eau Rouge. Time the DRS. And then the longest straightaway down the Kimmel Straight, ending sector 1. Pretty fast kind of chicane right here. Can be easy to actually hit the brakes too much. I found out, and you slow down more than you need to and lose a lot of time. Very difficult, long right-hander, easy to lock up. Upshift, quicker to get the better traction. Now, what happened to the Maverick? Is that in the pits?
I believe that was in the pits. Yeah, and through that downhill that you said it was easy to lock up, the front kind of the track kind of falls away from that right front, doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems like you get oversteer every single time, but I don't think it's that. It's just the nature of that corner. It's never ending. Almost feels like you're being pushed to the outside of that corner every single time.
Yeah, very easy to go deep there. As he's F1 Richie, going through Blanchimont here. At this point, it's flat out. Into the bus stop there, and then a very standard right-left chicane. It is a little bit more uphill than that in real life, though.
Yeah, and as you just saw there with F1 Richie, if you take that first turn a little bit too hot, as he goes fourth.
Fourth fastest. So yeah. The top 4 right now, all in the 142s, is very close between Bumblebee and Bacher. Bacher is on a lap now, though, and he's up on his time. And if that split is accurate, he's up on his time enough to catch up to his teammate if he doesn't lose it here through the bus stop. And we're going to see what Bacher can do and head into the line. Bacher goes P2 just behind his teammate, 5/1000ths of a second behind Nick Podgitzer, who is on his final outlap there, starting his lap, and I think Bacher might be able to actually give him a tow there down the straight. Not that he needs it.
I don't know. There's a Haas in the middle of the track with no front wing. Hopefully, this is getting in a bad spot right now.
And is that One Wing or Sprunky, whose Haas is on the track? We're going to have to look there, because whoever that is retired on track during qualifying, which is obviously not allowed. But enough of that. We'll look at that later there. I think Monkeys is coming across the line. He goes 5th fastest. Good qualifying effort from Monkeys. Right behind him into the bus stop, it's a Sunic who's crossing the line. I think, did he run out of ERS, or is he setting a lap? He's not setting a lap. Yeah, or that might have just been his outlap there, because I believe he's got a qualifying ban today.
That's right.
So I think he's just doing his instead of doing it at the start there, he's just going to do it at the end, and because that's not a set time. Ix is done as well. He's in P10. Azen crossing the line right now. P9 to P5 for Azen, sandwiching himself there between F1 Richie and Monkeys, all of them within 1/10 of a second of each other. CJ Butch. No, that's not CJ Butch coming across the line. That's always Rick coming to the line here. But he's invalidated his lap, so it doesn't quite matter. And I believe that Nick Podgitzer and CJ Butch are the only ones still on track. They're on the lap. I think Bacher is on track again, but of course he just set his lap before Nick Pogacar. He doesn't need to improve at this point, but I think he might just for the sake of it. And yeah, goes way too fast. 141, 888 there for Nick Pogacar. Wow, okay, so that's a pretty decisive pole position for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had CJ Butch, as you said, out on track with him, so that didn't really hurt to go for another one because we know that CJ Butch has that pace. But yeah, I didn't think he'd go nearly 3.5 tenths faster than his previous time, and gets a good 0.6 of a second gap to his teammate. But is this just gonna be a sign of things to come in the race? Is he gonna have a Lewis Hamilton-esque type of sailing into the horizon? Have to wait and see, though.
I mean, well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I hope not. I hope we get some interesting, at very least, an interesting battle for the lead. With the long straights here, it's going to be quite easy to stay with them if you can stay in the DRS, but.
We're gonna boys at the top.
Yeah, we're gonna find that out soon, aren't we? Now it's a triple Dutch qualifying podium there. 1, 2, 3, and then we got an Italian and a British. A Brit. I don't know why I said British there, but in our top 5, so very European dominated there. We got to go to P7 for our first North American and Monkeys. Crago in P8, Hartman, Ix, One Wing, Sprunky, always Rick Sunik trailing behind them, and then Maverick, who did not set a time just because he DSQ'd really early on. So the two AlphaTauris, after some good weekends, starting at the back of the pack.
Was that my? Did I do it to him? Did I give them that curse?
I don't like to blame people for this stuff, but I think you might have.
I think you have to.
I think you might have.
I don't think I can avoid this one. Oh, and we didn't even think about the weather at all. Luckily, it is sunny, but.
Yeah, that would have that definitely could have come to play a role here, but yeah, it does look sunny. I don't know if we're gonna get some weather later on in the race, though. We're gonna find out soon. We got a long, very long formation lap coming ahead. Let's take a look there at some of our comments. I think we got some information on what happened to Cozy. It looks like his wheel lost configuration, so coming out of the pit lane. So I've heard that happen to him before. Basically, he goes to turn and the wheel doesn't turn, so probably just sailed right into the wall there, and the car stops. There's people stuck behind him, and the game DSQs you quite easily. Chilmo predicting 3 safety cars, and so is that accurate? 3 safety cars today?
I'm gonna have to take the over on that one.
You're gonna have to 4 safety cars.
I didn't hear 5.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, with the nature of this track and the aggressiveness and with these guys and the pace, just have, and the way that Codemasters made the game and programmed it, you just have to think that.
Yeah, turn 1 I think is going to be our make or break there on lap 1. If we don't get one, lap 1, turn 1 there, at the very least a VSC, then I think I think we might be in for 1 or 2 this race. If we do get one at the start there into turn 1, then it might be a bit more of a chaotic race than we expected.
Guys doing a good job here. Haven't pressed the ready up.
And Aizen goes ahead and gives the signal. He's all right. He's all right. He's allowed. He's the division manager, so he's the only one who basically has immunity over readying up there. But either way, that was a plentiful break for all of these guys. Let's see, Mark, V-Mark saying good luck Division 3. So we got a lot of guys in the chat right now coming to cheer these guys on. Chilmo predicting a Mercedes in the top 3 and Red Bulls in the top 7. We'll have to see if they both... Well, there's only one Mercedes on track right now. Of course, the other one is the one dropping us that comment. But we'll have to see how accurate that is. The 2 Red Bulls in 7th and 9th right now, so they're going to have to do some overtaking. Aizen, he's going to have to pass 3 guys as well. Let's see. Well, Eklund predicting a Renault win. I think Eklund needs a new pair of glasses. So we don't have any of those, but I know he's just messing about there. And thank you to everyone who's already watching the stream and giving us a like and a view, I guess. And we've got the Belgian Grand Prix starting soon at the end of this formation lap, round 7. So as we approach the halfway point, I will very, very quickly take you through the championship order, at least for our top 10 there. Our pole sitter, Nick Pocketcher, in P1 right now. F1 Richie, P2, right behind him. And 161 points for the McLaren, 129 points for F1 Richie, so 40-point gap. That's if Nick Pocketcher gets a DNF and F1 Richie wins that race, they are tied, essentially. Chris in third with 96 points. He's not racing today after getting a race ban off of that safety car restart and other incidents last week. Aizen, who's starting in sixth, managed to get himself up into that in the fourth position with no flashy performances for Aizen, just some consistent driving.
And that's the best part. Really quickly, one of the, maybe not surprising, but one of the quote-unquote feel-good seasons to see Aizen up there in fourth place. And with consistent, well-done driving, he's done a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Craigo, P5 with 80 points there, so there's a bit of a gap, 13 points between fourth and fifth. And then we got about 5 drivers within 10 points. Bacher with 78, tied with Asunik with 78 for 6th place. Chilmo in 8th with 73 points. Cozy in 9th with 72 points. And then Monkeys in 10th with 71 points. So it's very close in our top 10. Right outside the top 10, though, I got to mention CJ Butch, 64 points, just trailing there behind him. CJ Butch not getting the best of luck this season. He's got to win. But Baku getting some wing damage off of Cozy and then unfortunately retiring on the last lap of the race. In Canada, of course, we saw him hit that wall of champions. So can he turn his fortunes around here in Belgium? We're going to see as the grid lines back up and getting ready for lights out here. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lights. And they're off in Belgium, and it looks like a good start from just about anybody as the grid really separates. Didn't see anybody dragging far behind. Is there contacts in the rear? No, it looks like everybody's getting through okay. And I don't see any damage there, so everybody being good boys there through turn 1. The 2 McLarens, though, kind of getting a break from the pack as they dart up Eau Rouge and through Radion down the Kemmel straight with a bit of a gap to Bumblebee behind them. And it looks like everyone's mostly kept position. Yeah, great clean start from these guys as they dive in there through turns 4, 5, 6. And no incidents, no nothing there. This might be the break that Nick Pocketcher needed to kind of dart off in the distance, Lewis Hamilton style like you predicted. But can Bacher hold up the pack? Can he catch up to his teammate? We're going to have to wait and see there. Right behind there, that's F1 Richie trying to have a look there on Bumblebee. And around this track, you're going to have to, I think penalties are going to come play a huge role in this event. So these guys are going to have to keep very, very clean. Aizen as well getting close to F1 Richie. And through the first lap, no incidents, no nothing. There's a big move there from One Wing on Ix. They're still side by side. And it's going to be Ix around. Is he clips the curb there, wheel rides up, and he's going to spin that car back around. And is that Cozy who's had to spin behind him? Cozy has had to spin as well. That was completely unrelated.
At the same time.
Yeah, both of them. Same corner, spin, and luckily for them, no damage. They're not going to lose too much time to the pack. They're just 6 seconds back now if they can get going. And I don't think that was One Wing's fault. I think Ix just rode the curb a little bit too much there. Yep. And unfortunately for him, around the car goes.
Yeah, just an unfortunate circumstance there. You had the 2 Haas cars of Sprunky and One Wing battling it out early in the middle of the lap, and even Hartman and Monkeys pretty close together as well back in the mid-pack. But I think so far Bacher's doing a pretty good job of keeping that gap between him and his teammate at a reasonable rate right now. And
that's someone who's out in Eau Rouge. And that's one wing. Let's ride on board with Ix there. We got a VSC. Is that counting towards your safety car count? Or are we... oh, yeah, that's a big hit there at the top of the hill. And that's the end of One Wing's race.
Yeah, thank Lord that this is just a video game, because
that would have hurt. That would have absolutely hurt.
But yeah, One Wing having a tough season. Currently, do you think he is the last of the point standings? Just had a pretty unfortunate season so far, and that's not going to help him. But yeah, an early exit for One Wing.
Yeah, and yeah, so tough break for him there. As we, by the way, you never answered my question. Do VSCs count towards our over/under?
I want to say no, but I think that we're going to have to say yes at this point. I was surprised though that we didn't get one early in lap 1. So,
that's a drive-through for Hartman. Is that a drive-through for Ix as well? I saw that penalty flash out. So we get back under green here, and it is. So a drive-through for both of them. So Ix's race goes from bad to worse, and he's going to have to take the long trip through the pit lane.
Yeah, we're starting to see that almost once every race weekend is when we have a VSC, is someone timing it wrong, getting the jump too early. Nearly loses it going.
Yeah, Bumblebee getting a little bit loose there coming out of the bus stop. And so you were mentioning how Bakker was keeping that gap to his teammate. Nick Pogacar, he had used up all of his ERS before the VSC came out on that previous lap. And it came out really early on in the lap, so he was pushing absolutely hard. Can Bakker and Bumblebee have a shot here? Because Nick Pogacar is pushing quite hard to stay ahead of these guys. Bakker's got 20% more ERS than him right behind. Bumblebee is actually pushing a bit harder than the two in front. And F1 Richie kind of cruising behind those guys. So as DRS is going to get enabled soon, and as these guys start to settle into their race pace, is Nick Pogacar kind of overexerting himself right now?
It definitely would appear that way. Really confused on why he'd use so much ERS, especially at this track so early, as Bakker had a bit of trouble there. Took a bit too much and too deep into the corner and nearly got loose, but able to keep it going. But yeah, you'd think that at this track you'd want to conserve as much ERS as possible, but I mean, if he can keep the lead regardless, I guess we can't really fault him for it. But yeah, a bit of an interesting tactic. Look at behind it, Aizen and F1 Richie nearly side by side. And where you definitely don't want to be side by side.
Aizen all over the back of F1 Richie through Blanchemont. Is he going to chance to move around the outside of the bus stop? He is. Tries to outbreak F1 Richie, but yeah, F1 Richie just a little bit too much or too fast for Aizen there, and able to edge him out there through the second half of the bus stop. But Aizen's not done yet. DRS is enabled now, and so these guys are going to be able to start closing those gaps down the straights. And of course, the Kemmel straight is so long that if you get DRS and if you're close enough to use it, you got the move essentially. Bakker is one of those guys who might be able to do that, and Nick Pogacar is defending, and it's using all that overtake, and it's going to work now as he stays ahead of his teammate through Lake Combe, and able to keep the lead. So lap 4, Pogacar has led every lap. Bakker has been in second place for every lap, and Bumblebee's been in third for every lap. So our top 3 here just not shuffling around just yet. I think, is that Crago who's gained some positions off of the start? It is. So Crago up 2 positions, CJ Butch down 2 positions, Monkey's down 1 position, and Aizen has gained a place as well. So our top 4 not changing, and then at the back, everyone's kind of held position except for the 3 that we saw have those moments for the drive-through. And Sprunky's had a spin.
That and Puon, I think it was.
And yeah, it wasn't through Puon. That's some wing damage for Sprunky. And after we saw him lead that race last week as he moves aside to let Cozy through, the only overtakes we've seen so far have been through incidents. I think. I don't think Crago, unless Crago managed to overtake on track there, we just missed it. We're not seeing a whole lot of movement under the green flags here. So these guys, now that DRS is open, they're going to have to start pushing, and to gain those positions is going to be quite tough there with the long straight to break out of those DRS trains.
Yeah, and there's one beginning to form here with F1 Richie Hayes and Crago. Even you could say CJ Butch, even though he won't have DRS, but he's sure is getting close. And you can see like the gaps, even with the DRS, it's just too far for Azen, for example, to even think about maybe even making a move down after the Kimmel straight, even gets into the grass.
Yeah, we've got some predictions in our chat right now. Jaron Visser, podium in first place, Nick. Second place, Richie. Third place, Azen. So he's expecting Bacher and
us.
Bumblebee to. Sorry, what'd you say?
That's us, Nick and Richie.
Yeah. So P1, P2 for the commentators. And Azen somehow just sneaking in there. So thank you for that prediction, Jaron. It's nice that you put so much faith in us to win from the press box. Mivako saying, go Richie. Chilmo, you read my mind to Jaron Visser. So Chilmo agrees there with Nick Poggetcher and F1 Richie, P1, P2 with Azen P3. And Chilmo predicts Billy, so Sunik, in P6. He's got 4 positions to make up from P10 right now if he wants to meet that. But I think he's got it in him. He's had some consistent races so far.
Yep, from, I think, 13th or 14th.
Oh, that's a yellow flag. That's Monkeys. Monkeys had a spin. Oh, he's had 2 spins.
Oh, no!
And he hits the wall, and he's out of the race. The front wheel falling off. And we've got that safety car now.
Now, that was really interesting. You saw him spinning, and it was a good 5 seconds before we actually saw him retire. Did he get hit, or did he just have a late contact with the wall?
I think he got wide, got loose. That triggered the yellow flag. I tuned into him, and then he was still spinning. So either it was just he kind of drifted it around the corner there onto the wall, or that was 2 separate incidents. But it didn't look like there was any contact. And are we going to see? We're going to see a lot of pit stops here. Oh yeah, basically everyone's pitting in.
Look at Joseph Cozy though.
And Cozy on the hards. He's gonna have to pit again. If Cozy gets another, he's just barely not getting past Bumblebee. So Cozy up 13 positions thanks to that alternate strategy. He's got to pit again, but if there's another safety car, this is gonna play out perfectly for him. And if there isn't, then he just gotta hope that he can build up a gap so that pit stop doesn't drop him by too many positions. F1 Richie has jumped Bacher there in the pit lane.
Yep.
Azen not gaining any positions. And yeah, Bacher down 3 positions there through that pit stop.
Yeah, Bumblebee able to take advantage of this slow pit stop. I mean, both McLarens did pit, and they were relatively close together. So
the entire grid, except for Cozy, is pit at this point, I believe. Yeah.
So that's probably the reason for the slow stop, if they had to double stack.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he's going to want to make a challenge to his teammate, he's going to have to make he's going to have to hope that F1 Richie makes quick work of Cozy on the softer tire compound.
How annoyed do you think Cozy is right now with that spin he had earlier? If it wasn't for that spin, I think he'd be in the lead right now. He'd have a clear track ahead. I mean, he's on the hard tires, but so are all of these drivers. I think that's interesting, though, and I am noticing this just now. We've kind of got a split strategy. Some guys on the medium, some guys on the hards. Now, the softs were slated to last, I believe, 8 laps, 7 to 8 laps with 9. You're kind of pushing the limits here. And then you switch over to the mediums, and the mediums, you have about 16 laps on them, but you only got about 14 laps to go in the race. So you're cutting it very close there on both tires. Now, if you pit early for the mediums here, can you actually make it to the end? Are we going to see some guys try to push those tires a little bit too far, maybe get some flat tires further down in this race?
Yeah, you're going to be pushing it, that's for sure. And that's one of the great things about this track and this particular race distance is that there's no really clear-cut better strategy, and that's only because of the uncertainty surrounding the soft-medium strategy. Obviously, if there was no uncertainty, that'd be the clear-cut thing to go with. But yeah, more drivers opting for the hards, I think.
Well,
no, it is evenly split.
yeah, it's quite evenly split.
Exactly.
We've got a disturbance in the force there, since apparently it's on the theme of dropping Star Wars puns during F1 broadcasts. If winter testing's anything to go by, there's a disturbance in the force in the name of Sprunky, who's on the soft tires.
He's like, you know what? I'm in 13th. Let's try something out.
Well, here let's open up my race director really quick. What did Sprunky start? He started on the mediums. So what did I just? Oh, I've accidentally muted Sprunky. I don't think that was going to matter too much, but so can Sprunky now? So just do some quick maths. 14 laps, right? From if you do a soft. Can Sprunky make it to the end here with just soft tires? He's got the mediums out of the way. He's gonna have to pit again. I think he probably goes, well, if I pit for the mediums, I'm gonna have to pit again. He doesn't want to go on the hards. If he does 7 laps on these softs, 7 laps on his next pair, he's gonna be right at the. He's gonna come out right at the end of the race, and maybe is that the alternate strategy that we all wanted to see? All these guys on the mediums are gonna have to pit again, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Now that you mention it like that, I hadn't really thought about the logistics of Sprunky's choice to go on the softs, but if that's exactly what he's doing, I think that's a great idea. Why not? You're in 13th. You got to try something out if other things just aren't really going in your favor. That's a really interesting one, though. I'm not bashing that at all. Would love to see that actually work out. And I'm going to get back to racing here, starting this lap.
And yeah, so the safety car is coming in, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is. As you see it dart off in the distance there. Where am I? What am I looking? I'm just sorry. I lost my YouTube comments. There you go. Chill Mo saying Sprunky's engineer needs to be fired. What do you think? What do you think of that? Yeah.
I would have agreed with him maybe at first, but I'm not so sure about that anymore. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on him, see how he's performing relative to everyone else. Long time from Nick Bockietcher waiting, and now I think he's
going there, yeah. And not much of a point in going before the bus stop here, because the whole field is going to catch up to you anyways into the bus stop. Yeah, the hard tires, of course. And I don't know if you've noticed, it's gotten cloudy.
It's getting darker.
Yeah.
I know, as soon as you say, I don't know if you've noticed, you're always talking about the sky.
I've gotten predictable. Yeah, so I'm going to have to switch it up for you and keep you on your toes then. But like you said, Cozy, not the best of restarts. On the hards, it's a little bit harder to get them heated in. But he did get a better restart than F1 Richie, who we saw have a moment coming out of La Source. And Aizen thinking about a move on Bakker. Bakker giving him plenty of room, but Aizen not going for it there. He just did not have the gap that he liked to set that move into motion. He's going to settle for P6 still. Oh, but I think that's Bakker going wide, and Aizen thought about having a peak once again, not making it happen. You're going to have to stay a little bit longer behind the McLaren of Bakker, who's eager to get himself back up the field there. And there's a big gap now between Cozy and Bumblebee, and Cozy just not able to make those hard tires warm up just yet, but I think give him a couple laps there, and I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. Now, though, is it going to rain? I usually go have a peek at the weather on Monkeys' screen, but honestly, I want to be kept in the dark here. I don't want to know the weather. Is it going to rain? And because if it rains and Cozy can just last out until the inters or the wets, maybe he just put himself on a podium-winning strategy here. Sprunky as well. Everybody on the mediums. Maybe that extra pit stop doesn't matter if you're gonna have to switch over to the intermediate tires. And our pit window opened here on my screen. F1 Insights recommending the intermediates. I think we might have some drizzle coming our way.
Sprunky, I think right now is in an amazing position, right? Because he's got the fastest and shortest lasting tire compound, and if it does rain here in the near future, he's in the best position to not even have to think about going on to another pair of soft tires.
Sprunky getting a position there on Always Rick into turn 1. Now he's trying to make it onto a Sunik into turn 4. And actually, speaking of rain, it's raining. We've started to see the first few droplets. And you know what, Mo, I think you got some words to eat, buddy, because I think Sprunky's engineer deserves a promotion. All right? As Cozy's as well. As everyone pitting, they probably didn't have to, if I'm being entirely honest with you. Anybody who would have stayed out on the softs could have made it to the rain, I think.
Well, then I want to, that raises the question, I mean, you know how sometimes they get the weather report wrong. They'll show like a cloud but no rain. And then sometimes it'll still rain. Did the forecasters get this one wrong? And no one expected it to.
Well, maybe their Jeffs were saying, 5-10 minutes, and then well, I assume they'll Jeff 1 through 20, but anyways, so they're saying,
there goes
no,
Maverick.
That's Maverick, and that's
hit.
A big crash for Maverick, right into the barrier. And we saw him there in the front of Sprunky, came back on board with him right as he hit the wall. And Maverick's out. We've got another safety car. And now with the rain falling, what happens here?
Oh, my goodness.
What happens here? There's some guys pitting. Oh, is F1 Richie going to risk it? Are we going to see some gambles?
Pocketer and Bumblebee, it's too late. They were already past the pit entrance. So they're forced to stay out. Cozy's in. Richie's in. Crago's in.
Cozy is pitting. Cozy's pitting for some slicks. He's pitting for the mediums.
Richie on the inters.
And Richie on the inters. We're seeing some split strategies here. There is still some sun in the sky. And who's going to get this strategy right? What's Sprunky doing? I'm starting to believe in Sprunky's strategy. He's putting the inters on. Did Cozy accidentally put the mediums, or did he want to put the mediums? Sunik is pit for the mediums as well. Looks like there's no consensus among these drivers on what tire's the best. We've got three inters, 2 mediums, or 3 mediums out of that wave of pit stops.
But that just goes to show I don't really think anyone has a clear understanding or clear answer to the conditions right now. And if these guys who play this game all the time are having to make second thoughts and having to think about it a third time, then you know that this doesn't really happen too often.
Ooh, did Sprunky just have a big moment there, or was he just trying to warm up his tires? I thought he was going to hit the barrier. And we're going to have to see there, just what can these inters do on the restart? Is it going to keep raining, or is this just... Yeah, it's not raining enough for inters, for sure. But I see some sunlight in the sky. Is this just a passing cloud, or are we going to see inters later down the line? For everybody here, I have no idea at this point.
Look at F1 Richie. He has to slow down to nearly 40 miles per hour just to make that corner without really wearing out the inters too much.
It's way too early for the inters. Way too early for the inters. Are Nick, Pocketer, and Bubbly, they're not going to pit. Bacher, maybe? What's happened here? There's such a big gap here from Bacher to Azen and CJ Butch. Is Bacher backing them up in case his teammate was pitting? Or did something happen at the start of the safety car that caused that gap?
I have no clue at all. But F1 Richie's kind of doing the same thing. He's slowing down a lot right before the bus stop. But yeah, you had just mentioned that you want to you'd be taking the side of Sprunky's Jeff. Are you so sure about that right now?
I mean,
especially with the light rain.
I didn't know the rain was coming at all, so I'm just gonna stay with Sprunky's Jeff and assume that it's raining enough that it's gonna rain enough that the inters are gonna be good. We're starting to see a little bit of spray. I'm just worried that this rain isn't going to stay the whole race.
I'm starting to kind of agree with you. The more sun I see peeking through the clouds, the less sure I am that this rain is here to stay.
The way I feel about it right now is, yes, it's going to rain, and yes, there's going to be a small bit of time where the inters are faster. Are the inters going to be fast enough, long enough, to kind of offset a pit stop, though? Are some of these guys that are going to try to stick it out on the slicks be faster in the long run. You know what I mean? Like, can you offset that extra pit stop?
And if it doesn't end up raining as much as it needs to for the Inters, they're really going to be struggling through Sector 2. That's really where they're going to lose their most time.
They're struggling right now. I'm on board with Sprunky. It's not carrying nearly as much speed as he could.
Yeah, and even from an off-board camera view, you couldn't be mistaken for it not even raining. It doesn't even hardly look like it. You have to kind of go onto the onboard, at least from my television. But yeah, clearly not even close to enough.
Safety car is in this lap, and so right as the field queues up, there won't be much time there. And what this means, crucially, is that these guys that just caught up to the field, Cozy down to Krago, assuming this restart doesn't take too long, you're going to have a lot more temperature in their tires. They've just been pushing like almost race pace for a few, or as fast as they can go for a few laps, trying to catch up to the queue. And that's a lot of temperatures in the brakes and the tires. That might cause an advantage long term on this restart, at the very least until the guys at the front get the temperature back in their tires. Now, normally on a dry track, that wouldn't be much of an issue. On the wet track, though, can they even get the temperature in at all before something happens, before the rain happens? We're going to find out as Pocketzer gets going again, and he's got a good jump on Bumblebee once more, and on the rest of the field particularly.
Yep, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous as we start to approach Eau Rouge and Radion here, as the rain, I think, is actually starting to come down just a slight bit more. It's going to get really slippery going up through Eau Rouge. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see some cars lose it.
We're seeing some positions shuffle further back, and Sprunky's, no, there you go, there goes Rick, and that's another car out of the session. He was following Sprunky very closely through Eau Rouge, and I don't know if he tapped him or if the tires just lost grip, but that's another car out of this race, and there's now 12 cars left, and no safety car, I think. Just a yellow flag in Sector 1. The field is far enough that they're able to clear that car out before anybody gets too close. And, I mean, they've done it already there. So that's that's a fourth car out of this race. Through.
Huon's going to be tricky, too, here in the wet.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's no intentional retirement so far. It's all been crashes.
And it's kind of what we really expected at a track like Spa. Add the rain now into that equation, and it's a clear cut and dry. Definitely going to have some instances of crashes.
Yeah. I can tell you for sure, though, that the slicks are 100% faster still. The three guys who pitted for the Inters are 4.2 seconds back of the closest slicks runner, and Cozy and Asunik, both guys who pitted for the mediums, are going to ignore always Rick and pretend that he didn't exist, because the fact he lost it on the slicks completely does not fit my narrative. But Cozy and Asunik both gaining positions right off that restart.
Bacher
so
has Azen nearly go into the back of him at the bus stop, and almost had CJ Butch come into the party. Yeah, these slick conditions, I think Bacher's really starting to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, the hard tires are going to lose some pace here, as the track is inherently just a little bit cooler than it should be with the rain and the water. I don't think they've lost grip yet. Oh, Azen getting a lot of curb there ahead, but keeping hold of that car. And for sure here, so we can definitely say that the Inters are slower. Are they going to stay slower? CJ Butch goes for a move on Azen. They tap wheels, and CJ Butch has had a spin. Oh, he keeps it out of the wall. What a save by CJ Butch. And CJ Butch there, I'm not going to assign blame there. It did look like he went a little bit deep into that corner, so that might have been a little bit because of carrying too much speed there. We're going to have to wait and see for the replay, though. Doing a great job keeping that car out of the wall. Cozy gets past Ix into the ahead of the no-name corner, down that downhill right-hander, and moves himself up into 5th place. A great restart from Cozy, already gaining 4 or 5 positions after pitting for those mediums. And yeah, that sun peering through the clouds, the fact that it's not raining a whole lot more than it did on the restart, I'm starting to doubt the fact that we're going to need the Inters at all. And sorry, Sprunky's Jeff, but I am now doubting you.
Yeah, we were against him, then we were all for him. But, yeah, it didn't rain enough, or at least hasn't yet. Still 9 more laps.
Yeah,
9
Sunik.
DRS enabled.
Yeah, Sunik getting past Hartman. ERS enabled. Is that... What's happened here? There's CJ Butch has had a spin, and we've got a virtual safety car as he's somehow not retired from this race. But he's had a spin coming through Blanchimel.
And Stunik just happened to be going into the pits when the VSC came out. And he goes onto the inters.
Hartman's in the pits.
Yeah, Hartman, excuse me. But yeah, Hartman goes onto the inters.
And F1 Richie, and as Hartman goes onto the inters, F1 Richie goes off the inters. Oh my God, this is an absolute, this is a show of strategy, and I don't think anybody knows which strategy to pick right now. We're seeing guys flip-flopping, we're seeing guys go on inters while others get off the inters. Nobody has any idea how this track is going to handle.
Oh, that's a great sound.
Oh no, our leader's got a drive-through.
Oh my goodness.
Our leader has got a drive-through. Nick Pocketer has a drive-through penalty.
ISRL Bumblebee is going to be leading this race with Bacher and Azen behind him, both with penalties. I mean, part the Red Seas. Here's your win. ISRL Bumblebee, you just got to go out and do it.
Carter,
what an opportunity.
Carter.
No.
You've already jinxed.
Don't even.
You've already jinxed 2 AlphaTauris this broadcast. I highly suggest you stop right now.
He has a great opportunity. That's all I'll say.
Alright, we're going to see when Nick Poggater serves that drive-through. It won't be now. The thing is, though, is that if it starts to rain more and he's got to pit for the inters, he's going to have to serve his drive-through first and then pit. So he needs to figure out what he wants to do in terms of pit strategy, because he's essentially just thrown that win away there. He might still be in for a podium, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's only 7 laps left. I mean, can't really wait too long. I mean, the laps are running out.
Well, he can't wait.
Is correct, but
he can't wait too long because he's got 3 laps to serve it. But yeah, if he waits until there's 4 laps left, then like what happens? Is he going to be able to recover those positions? Is he going to be able to catch up to the field? If I were him, I'd serve it as soon as possible.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if you can serve it the same lap if VSC comes out.
No.
I know you can't the same lap a safety car comes in, but maybe that's why he didn't serve it. But yeah, wait and see.
VSC is still out when you enter the pits.
Oh, now this is interesting. Lewis saying that if Cozy gets a podium, he's going to do a shoey. Yeah, Lewis. Yes, hey, so long as we get to pick the shoes,
and we get to watch it happen.
You better film it. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. CJ Butch again. The luck just goes from bad to worse here. And he's had a spin coming out of the pits. And that's a busted wing for CJ Butch.
Yeah, but you don't retire here. A lot of guys maybe spin. You're in the last of the runners. 7 laps left. You just retire the car having a bad... But no, you're earning more points than 4 other drivers. You finish the race and earn as many points as possible.
And Nick Pocketer is coming in the pits. He's going to serve his drive-through. And Bumblebee inherits the lead here.
Oh my goodness.
And not only does he inherit the lead, he inherits a 10-second lead. As Bacher is quite far back, and he's got Azen, Cozy, and Asunik for company. So Bacher's not going to be able to make a push here for that lead because he's got some defending to do.
I'm in shock.
And Bumblebee's just got to keep it clean here. And look at where Poggater comes out. P6, right behind this battle for the podium here.
A whole lot of ground to make up for Nick Pocketer. 2 AlphaTauris in front of him. Look at that, they're going side by side, the 2 teammates are.
And is there going to be any love lost between them? No, it looks like Cozy is going to let Asunic go by there, trying not to lose any time down the straightaway, and they've managed to get that move done just in time for the braking zone. So switching positions, no time lost between either car. That's how you want to see it between teammates.
Yeah, have that level of respect to know when the other guy's faster and not hinder him in any way. Fokker not able to put a good dent into that Bumblebee lead, at least not yet, and doesn't really help that he's got the Mercedes of ISRL Esports.
Yeah, not to mention, he's essentially 12 seconds back right now. 13 seconds back. He's got that 3-second penalty.
Yeah,
Bumblebee, no penalties. Yeah. So not only does he have to catch up to Bumblebee, who's a full straight in front of him, I need to mention.
Has the rain gotten harder?
I don't know. I legitimately do not know right now because it's so in between. If you want to know though, Hartman is on the inters. You can kind of track his progress to Ix. It looks like it's staying mostly the same there, hovering around 22 seconds. So we might be at the crossover point now. Unfortunately, Hartman's the only one on the inters, so there won't be a whole lot of taking advantage of strategy. Ix is in the pits though. Is he pitting for inters? Asunic and Aizen through turn 1 are gonna try to swap positions. Not going to work. Now, Asunic is going to get back at Aizen. I thought he was going to try to maybe send one there through Eau Rouge. Not going to happen. Ooh. They both have to lift off a lot there up the hill. And I thought we were going to see a Mercedes facing the wrong way. Not going to be the case there as they keep those cars grounded. They keep it planted through Radion and down the Camel Straight. And still, though, very close. This is just playing perfectly. There, I got it out on the 5th try there into Bumblebee's hands. Yeah, you got a 10-second lead.
Yeah, a nearly 10-second lead. We mentioned no penalties, and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all battling it out. I mean, oh my goodness.
Now I don't want to stir any trouble here, but. If Bumblebee wins, I know that I'm going to be replying to that comment of Chris's last week where he said that he wants a new, more useful teammate with a picture of that P1. And it's not to stir up any race drama, and it's totally to stir up race drama. Yeah, no, Chris is going to be eating his words right now. Chris, his teammate leading the race, 11-second lead, not a week after being told that by his teammate that we wanted a new one. I think this is just a big old middle finger to his racing point to the other side of the garage right now.
But Nick, how many laps are left? And you're saying all this?
We're starting lap 18 here, so 5 full laps of racing to go.
So anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Of course, anything can happen.
There's a McLaren. Hotkids are having a lot of trouble.
And I missed that there. I was on board with Bumblebee. There's also the possibility that his medium tires just don't last until the end of the race.
All these guys having trouble.
Sector 3, that's Hartman. Hartman's had a moment.
All these guys exiting turn 1 had the rear end step out of them, so definitely losing traction as they put more life on these tires. There goes Asunic to the inside of Aizen. At the end of the Kimmel Straight, gets up into 3rd. Very impressive move, but now he's going to switch back.
Is Aizen going to get it? Not going to have the traction, but there's a lot of lap left to go. And now Aizen sandwiched between the two AlphaTauris, and just going a little bit deeper there. Let's get right on board with Cozy as we see this battle unfold ahead of him. Yeah, these guys are struggling for grip here. I just don't think that they're going to have to pit again. I think they might be able to just tough it out on the slicks. And as tricky as the track looks right now, if you pit, I mean, you're essentially gambling 20 seconds versus a DNF. And it's basically, can you hang on, or do you feel the need to pit for inters? I think the inters might be faster at this point.
But there's only 4 laps left. So
but there's only 4 laps left.
Yeah. It's crazy how that how the timing of this has happened. Because if it had been rating a little bit harder, maybe 2, 3, 4 laps ago, this would have been a completely different story in terms of strategy.
Sweet Crown asking, sorry, Sweet Crown asking a question that I saw a joke that he made, but why did X pit to mediums? Were his tires worn out? I'm not sure why X pit to the mediums. He was on 9-lap old hards though, so probably not. I think it was probably just a grip temperature thing, of course, with the track being this wet. Lewis saying that he's going to do a shoey. Sweet Crown replying,
Aizen.
oh yeah. Sweet Crown replying with what? Apple juice. So that gave me a giggle. But we're seeing some more penalties being taken here.
Roll right now.
Stunek getting by Bakker. He's got 9 seconds of penalties though, so he better start pumping those laps in and not lose time. Aizen getting almost. Oh my God! Oh, that was very close. Aizen going deep. Cozy giving him plenty of room, but Aizen just not. Oh my God! Podgetter's off the track and manages to save it. That's another impressive save we've seen today. Aizen, the corner before, also almost losing it in these treacherous conditions, and Asunik takes another penalty, and so Asunik needs to now put in something like 9 seconds between him and third place if he wants to hold on to a podium. I don't think it's going to happen with so little laps left, but all it takes is a spin. He's got a big gap there to 7th place, so at the very least, I think Asunik can guarantee himself a top 5, maybe? Just maybe, if he can keep putting those laps in. Yeah, it's so treacherous out there, isn't it?
All these guys are having to be so careful on the throttle, on the exit of pretty much every corner, because, there's just no traction in the rears right now. As you said, the inners would be great right now. But, yeah, there's no point in it now. 2 laps left. Potgetter even having some trouble.
Yeah, we saw him just getting loose coming through the NLA comb there, and I don't know how he didn't lose it. He gets past Aizen now. Aizen on the hard tires, just struggling for grip at this moment. And it does look like going for the mediums was the better option. And with the rain coming... Potgetcher with another moment is going to give Aizen another chance to attack. But Eau Rouge, side by side, in these conditions, it's a suicide pack at this point.
Yep, that would not be a good idea at all. And then Aizen made sure not to cut any corners, because especially at this moment, this time in the race, adding more penalties when you're amongst a pack like this is the worst thing you want to do.
3 seconds in penalties for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 12 seconds for 2nd, though. So I think we're going to see Asunik drop a few come the end of the race. But he's almost put in a 3-second gap to Bakker. So I don't think he's going to drop a whole, all the way down to Aizen's position if you can keep this up.
That's looking like probably what it might end up being, but did anyone expect this, the top 5, when we started the race? I couldn't help but say there's no way.
I'll tell you that I expected to see at least one McLaren, or 2 McLarens in the top 5. I didn't expect them to be 3rd and 5th, though.
Absolute. And before I don't want to get anything wrong, where did these guys start? How many positions have they made up? Stunek has made up. Both AlphaTauris have combined to make 24 spots up in this race.
Yep, pre-penalties. That's probably the most you can get, considering the shorter grid, the smaller grid that we had today after the race bans for a few of these guys. We'd still be missing 2 drivers there. So, but yeah, in terms of 24 combined positions gained between the two of them, more overtakes than that as they've worked their way up and down the grid a few times. And the 2 AlphaTauris with a considerable amount of momentum that they've managed to carry on through the last couple of races into the weekend, and it's paid off dividends for them after an unlucky / self-imposed start at the back of the grid there. Cozy getting disqualified as Asunik with a qualifying ban. So they've made the most of that weekend, and really only Bumblebee has performed better, I think.
Yeah, nailed it on the head there. I mean, what Bumblebee's been doing right now, it's great. He's got the wherewithal to realize that he's got a huge gap. Conditions are rough, so don't push it. Just take it nice and easy. But then again, don't go too slow to where a student can easily catch back up to him in the matter of a
Well,
lap.
here's the thing. He's taking it easy. You can tell that from looking at his onboard. He's actually still extending that gap though, and he
Yeah,
takes his
that's what I was
first
about to
penalty
say.
now. He's extending
Crazy.
his gap regardless. So that penalty's not going to matter as long as he doesn't spin or anything. Bacher gets a bit of a moment there as we saw him fight that car for traction. Yeah, Bumblebee. I don't think it's going to matter at all there if you can just maintain that space. Now, with Cozy taking a 6 second, or another 3 seconds for 6 seconds total, only Nick Poggeter with 3 seconds behind Asunik. If Asunik can get another 2 seconds in this lap, we're on the last lap now, he's going to be able, I think, to hold on to at least one of the podium positions, but there's one lap left. And Bumblebee, I'm just going to take us through Eau Rouge on with him one last time, and he navigates that so carefully, but with no worries to be had as he sets off down the Kemmel Straight for the final time today.
That ERS though. Never stops using that ERS even on the last lap.
If you're going in a straight line, I definitely got to say, I think you'll be all right, but you got to remember to stop using it there before the corner. Cozy, is he going to have a move on Bacher? Cozy is going to have a move on Bacher, and he gets ahead of Bacher. No, they're side by side through the corner, and Bacher goes deep, and I think Cozy left him enough room there, and that's going to help Asunik for sure, as Bacher has gone around, and can he recover and keep that position from Ix? I think he might. Yeah, Ix is behind him. He's got a bit of wing damage, but I think he's able to recover. Hartman has had a spin as well in the bus stop chicane. I think Cozy left him enough room there. From our angle, it looked like Bacher went deep.
Like it.
But with the rain, actually the rain has stopped now. But with the greasy track then that we had, I'm almost not surprised we saw that happen in the final lap. These guys are pushing so hard. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. That's Ix. So the man who I thought was going to catch up to Bacher now falls himself.
Bumblebee with the upset of the century.
Coming across the final corner, he takes it so easy to the line, and Bumblebee's going to win the Belgian Grand Prix. What a turn of events for the Racing Point driver. What a tough start to the season, and he proves everybody wrong, coming home in first. And as soon as it crosses the line second, is he going to drop positions? He's going to keep the third place. Nick Poggeter manages to recover to second place there after that unfortunate pit stop, and that sent him further down the grid. Aizen, fifth place. Bacher fighting to the line with Crago, and he manages to hold on to sixth place after that spin. Not a bad recovery from Bacher considering it was on the final lap. Ix is going to come home in 10th, or he's going to almost come home in 10th as he hits the wall out of frustration right before the finish line. He's still going to cross it though. He's classified. Cutting it closer. Could you imagine if that car had stopped right where he hit the wall? And we would have lost the other two positions. But Hartman, CJ Butch are going to come and cross the line with a little bit of delay. But I think we got to get Bumblebee, Nick Poggeter, and Asunik here in the party. What a reversal of fortunes here for Bumblebee. And after being, let's take a look at our, our standings. Bumblebee is currently 15th with 41 points, and he just got 40 points today. Almost Nick Poggeter with the fastest lap, so he's gonna have 81 points, and that's good. That's good enough to get him at least well into the top 10 there. So, yeah, he's catching up to his teammate as well. He's only gonna be 15 points behind his teammate now. What a drive! What a drive from the Racing Point driver.
Incredible. Invites have been sent out to Bumblebee, Poggeter, and Asunik already actually part of this party. So, and there we go. Got Stunek, first one to hop on into the commentaries booth. Billy, haven't been talking to you for this past week. Had to fight off a lot of adversity, and my goodness, P3 here in Belgium with these tricky conditions. How'd you do it?
No clue. I just wanted to get sixth, and I think they brought my Australia car to Belgium because this thing was a rocket. I accidentally didn't even put a setup on. I didn't have a setup that entire race.
What?
Nah, I had a default setup.
What?
How?
Because I wanted to get out and give Cozy a tow, even though I couldn't necessarily, you know the deal. And I hit the buttons in. I was rushing, and then I went, wait a minute, the car feels weird. And then when I got back in, I looked and I was like, oh man, this is a default setup. Whoopsie. Well, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter because we don't have a lot of drivers this week. Cozy got DQ'd in qualifying because his wheel turned off, so he was just sitting in the middle of pit road. He got DQ'd, so it was pretty much like, man, put your heads down. Let's go out there and grab some points. And actually, a 3-4 is, oh my God, I'm so hyped for the team. During practice all week, we just really emphasize on just finishing the race. We know how hard this track is, how challenging it is. Safety car strategies could be thrown up in the air. We were told in qualifying we may have a cloudy race. Then when we started the race, we were told it'll rain at the end of the race, and then we found out actually it's going to rain the majority of the race. And I just, given the flexibility of being no matter where I'm going to finish today, I'm going to most likely end up with points, especially after a few guys are tired. So I was like, well, no matter where I go, I'm going to get a point. So let's not just throw caution to the wind, just go for a weird strategy. And I said, screw it, stick to the mediums the whole race. I don't feel like I'm going to gamble that it doesn't rain all that much. And honestly, the car, as soon as we went back to green after the last safety car, this car was flying.
Yep, and I even had to mention that the Stunek, having passed what seemed to be nearly 3-4 cars after that last restart, but now the man of the hour, a huge upset win for ISRL Bumblebee, first win, if I'm correct. Well, first of all, I mean, how does it feel after a rough weekend last weekend to bounce back in the best way possible? Can you hear me?
Bumblebee.
Oh, we can just barely hear him. Yeah, you're gonna have to just bump that your audio, your mic sensitivity up just a tiny bit. But yeah, Bumblebee, you can hear us, right? Okay. Ricardo, I'll let you carry on there. Hopefully you can hear him good enough on the stream there. Yes. Bumblebee, last week, your teammate wasn't in a great mood after the race. He told you, why not getting in the top? Why not getting a top 5 once in a while? Did that offer you any motivation into that performance today? Because you not only you got a top 5, you got a win, and that's with him not in the race. And what was that going through your head? Did you use that as motivation into today's Grand Prix? Oh, all right. Well, yeah, thank you for that. Congratulations to the winners and the podium holders. So Bumblebee, great race. Sunik as well. That was some awesome driving. I honestly was not sure of the weather strategy at all. You guys played it perfectly, so congratulations on that. That's going to tie it up here for us in Division 3. We're going to be back in half an hour, 35 minutes, for some Division 2 action from the same track. So you know the drill. Tune back in for some more racing, some more Grand Prix action from ISRL. If you are still watching us, if you're still on the live stream, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and go check out all of our pages on your favorite social media. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in, dropped a comment so far. We're going to see you a little bit later, and I hope everybody takes care.